Now, today's work is going to hook on to what we just finished with arrays, okay, and the models, okay? It's gonna hook on to that. And part of that, I was telling you about something known as a partial quotient, okay? We did partial products where if you had a two-digit number by a two-digit number, two-digit factor by a two-digit factor, you're having to multiply and you're gonna get two partial products before you add them to get the final product, right? Everybody understand that? Okay. Today we're gonna do the same thing, but we're going to do it with, and it's done just a little bit different, and you're gonna see what is going on, and you'll see how it tags into what we just did. Instead of working to the sides where you have the hundreds for this one, the tens and the ones, okay? We're gonna work up and we're gonna work down, okay? And I'll show you. First of all, 67 into this number, okay? Where is the first digit going to go? Where is the first digit in the answer going to go? And this is something that I keep saying, and I want you to keep looking for. Christian, where does it go?
10.
It's going to go in the 10 spot. So I know that this is going to be a 0 and a 0. And if I put those zeros there, it's sort of like the placeholders that you have when you multiply and you put it down below, okay? But these we're putting up top so you know exactly where that first digit goes, okay? 67 goes into 448 how many times? We're going to try 6. Nope. We're going to try 6. Be 42.
It's not 8. It's not 8 because 8 times it's not 6 is 48, and that's already too much. If it's larger than
6 times 6 is 36 plus 4 is 400. So you got 402. And I know that if I add 67 to this to make it 7 times, I'd be at 469, which is higher than 448. So 6 is correct, okay? So I'm going to put a 6 there, and I'm going to put a 0 after it, and you're going to see why. Now, I know that it's 402 because I already figured it out over here. 402, subtract,
46.
switching colors so that you can see this. It is 40, gosh, golly's running my colors out. 46 with a 9 down, okay? So what is my division problem now?
6. Well, it goes into 469 7 times.
We're going to sit and say that this number, 67, the divisor, is going into 469. And it goes how many times?
7.
7. So I'm going to put the 7 up above.
Wow.
That's the way they're doing it. You'll see it better with this one. 7 times 67 is, and if you have any questions on that, over here, if you add 67, you get 469. Okay? Because this is 6 times, so if you add 1, that would be 7 times. Okay? So you're getting this, so your answer is 67. Now, let's try this one, and I'll show you how it comes out. Luke, the first question is, where does the first number go?
It goes in the 100 spot.
Goes in the 100 spot. So I'm going to put a 0 here, placeholder. 24 goes into 29. Can you think of that, Luke? That's kind of hard. Once. 1 times 24 is 24. Subtract.
5.
And I'm going to bring down the 5. I'm going to have 55. I'm going to put zeros here. Now, my question now is 24 into 55.
Oh, I know.
Christian, 2 times.
You didn't.
So that would be 48. And it gives me 7. Bring down the 2.
72. Oh, I know it. I know stuff.
Cece. 3 times.
That was a complete guess.
3.
Yeah, obvious.
It's 3 days and 7
That was a guess.
Now, can we save all the smart comments? Okay. The answer here, when you add these up, is 123. Okay? And all that they are doing is, before when we did this, you had the 24 going into 2952, and you would say it went in 1 time, and then you did the 24, subtract, you got 552, and we took that, brought it over here, 24 into this was 552, goes in 2 times, and you had 48, and brought down was 72, we took that, brought it over, and you had 24 into 72, which was 3. 72, subtract, you got 0. This was the way that we did it with the arrays. Okay? Instead of doing it going across this way, they're stacking it up. So this is there, this is here, and this one is on the top. And so then when you add them up, you end up with 123. Okay? All that they're doing is stacking it, showing it to you in different steps. Last 2 days, it was this way. Today, it's going to be this way. Okay? It's going to be an up and down thing. You're going to figure it out. You find out where it goes, and you just put zeros after it. Because your next number isn't going to go next to it, it's going to go above it. And you got to line it all up. Okay? Is it making sense now? Okay? It started out here, but now all of a sudden Cain's going, it's coming down. Instead of dragging it across, where you had the hundreds.
This just saves space.
Yeah, the 10s and the 1s.
They do the same space.
It's doing it, but in the same space here. Okay?
Yeah.
And you still have the hundreds, the 10s, and the 1s. Except you're not labeling it like what I did. The book didn't label the hundreds, 10s, and 1s. I did. To try and make it easier for you to understand. Right.
What I don't understand is how you're stacking. Like they're stacking hundreds.
The first one, the first number that you divide is 24. Does it go into 2?
No.
No. Does it go into 29? And it goes in 1 time. So you put a 1 and you just put zeros after it. Okay? You go ahead, 1 times 24 is 24, and you subtract, you get 55. Well, after you bring the 5 down too. Okay? Now, 24 goes into 55 twice, right? And that's the 48. So I'm putting the 2 up above it. Okay? In the 10 spot. 2 times 24 is 48. Subtract, you get 7. Bring down the 2. Okay? Now, 24 goes into 72, and I put the 3 up above the 20. So I'm working my way up. Each one of these is gonna be 100, a 10, and a 1. If I ended up with a number that started out with 1,000, that you started out in the 1,000 spot, you would have 1,000, 100, a 10, and a 1. Each place value gets its own row. Okay? Does that help? Okay. Kane?
I was gonna say, I like this way a lot better
Oh,
than
yeah.
the other way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It
Also-
saves so much space.
Also, it's just expanded form on the top, kind of.
Yeah, because it's spinning.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it.
That
Call
is.
it.
This you could say is expanded form.
That's
okay.
really good.
Now, all that this math is trying to do is we're eventually gonna get to where you don't stack it up, you just put it straight down. But what it's trying to do is to help you better understand division. Okay? I've been in here and we have been looking at all of these hurricanes. Do you know more about hurricanes from this year than you have ever known before? Okay? You've learned about the pressure inside of it. If that goes down,
It's bad.
it's bad, and what happens to the wind speed?
Goes up.
Wind speed goes up. So you watch the barometer, it goes down, wind speed goes up. We've learned about how it's directed. It goes around what?
Oh, high pressure.
High pressure. What did I explain that high pressure was like?
It was like a mountain.
A giant
It's like a mountain. And instead of going over the mountain, they go around the mountain. Okay? And they're what direct them. Okay? We found out that hurricanes don't do well with what?
Land.
With what?
Land.
And low
Land.
temperature water.
Cold water.
Low, cool water,
And sandstorms.
sandstorms,
Shearing winds.
shearing winds.
High pressure systems.
They go around them.
I think cold front.
Cold fronts will tear them apart too. That's what tore apart,
Ada.
not Ada, I think it was Zeta.
Theta.
Which
Iota,
one went into
Iota.
New Orleans?
Oh, that was Zeta. Yeah.
Yeah, and it, all of a sudden it took off and it was going at like 45 miles an hour off to the northeast. And it got torn apart from that cold front that went through.
That fast.
Yeah,
45
So-
miles an
all of this that you learned helps you to better understand hurricanes, right? I'm presenting the book is presenting all of these different ways for division so that you can better understand division, okay? Later we're gonna get into just plain division, where you just divide straight through, okay? Now, the other part to this that they have is the inverse relationships. Okay? Inverse is what? What's one quick word for inverse?
Like switch.
Switch, that's a good one. I was thinking of the word opposite.
Oh.
Okay? Which we could go with switch or opposite. So if we were looking at the inverse operation of division, that would be,
Multiplication.
Ethan,
Multiplication.
multiplication. So we're looking for multiplication. Austin, was it yesterday or the day before, you sat and said that you double check these. How do you double check it?
Multiply the divisor by the quotient.
The divisor outside the house times the quotient.
On top of the house.
Should equal the dividend.
It's gonna equal the dividend,
That's correct.
okay? And that is using the opposite. Well, if you know for this problem here that you have 67 67 Am I right?
67.
Oh.
67.
Is this the opposite of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because if you have your fact family, you know that 2 times 3 equals 6. You know that 3 times 2 equals 6. 6 divided by 3 equals 2. And 6 divided by 2 equals 3. Okay? There's different ways to do it. But if you were to take out the 3 in all of those, then you got a blank. You can either divide or you can multiply. Here, this is the multiplication that would go with this. So when you figure out you have 67 up here is your answer, you can go through. Now, they're also looking for you to do with compatible numbers. Now, I know that Allison, when you were talking, Ryan saying 6, and he said, wait, it should be 8. Allison said, well, immediately the 8 times 6 is 48, which is way over the 44, right? Okay? Now, when looking at compatible numbers, couldn't we make this into
A 70.
a 70?
Yes.
So then you would have 70 times something equals, and a 70 would go, 7 would go into what? That's close to 44.
42.
42. So if I put 4200,
Well, then it would be 6.
it would be what?
60.
60.
Oh.
All of a sudden, this is giving you a range in which you are close to it. Okay? And in the book, it says use the inverse relationship between multiplication and division. Write a related multiplication equation. This is what we did. Okay? Use compatible numbers to estimate the value. Okay? So they did this. We did something with that. Use the estimate as the first factor, and we would change this back to 67. Okay? And I'll show you. What you're going to do is you're going to take this, you're going to leave the 60. We're now going to change this back to 67, and we're going to multiply. So 67 times 60, 42, 4,
Your hand was in there.
36, 2, gonna get 4020, and I need to get to this. Right? I need to get to this, because that's the question, right? So if I know that 60, and I'm here, I'm 400 off. So let me try 6 more. If I tried 6 more, I know that 6 is 402. So that would put me at 4422. Right? Is everyone following?
No.
If I were to change this to 66 times 67, I'm changing this number. Okay? From 60 to 6, because this is part of your question. And I'm trying to get to where I get here, to this answer. So if I leave this 67 alone and I change the 60, which was an estimate, to a 66, I end up with 4422. Because I'm basically adding 402 to this. Because I know that going from 0 to 6 times this is 402. Somebody's trying to do us.
They can't.
No.
This way?
So I gotta leave the 67 here,
They sound like noodles.
and I'm changing this to a 67, and I'll end up with the 4489. Because all I'm doing is adding 67 here. Okay? And what they're doing is they are having you do you're starting out with compatible numbers, and then from the compatible number, you're putting back in your divisor, and you're trying to end up with your dividend. And it's a matter of figuring out, taking a shot at one of them. And that's what it's gonna ask you for number 1 in your book. Don't do the work, just sit and listen to me as you're looking at your book. Okay? Look at number 1. It's on page 83. Put your pencils down and just look. It has, number 1 is 360 divided by 15. Graham, book out. Your book out. First thing it says, you got a bunch of questions you got to answer. Estimate the quotient. What will we put as like an estimate? I mean, if you sit and think about compatible numbers, don't change the 15, change the other one. Leave the 15 alone.
350?
15 isn't going to go into 350.
300.
They're going to 300. And so, if we do an estimate of that, 300 divided by 15, that would be what? Riley?
What is the answer? I think I'm wrong.
Say it. Take a shot.
2 or 20?
20. Okay? You're fine. 20. Okay? So the first one would be 20. Estimate the quotient. You're guessing that it's about 20. Okay? Then the next dot, it says multiply. Use the estimate as the first factor and 15 as the second factor. So you're leaving the 15 alone. So 20 times 15 is, what'd you say it was, Luke?
300.
300. Okay? Decide how to adjust the first factor. We have to leave the 15 alone. Okay? So we gotta adjust. We have to adjust this. Now it's saying to adjust the 20 because they're wanting inverse relations. So we know that 20 times 15 equals 300.
Ooh, I know what
But-
we could try.
We have to get to
360.
360.
Ooh, I know
And
what
we're
we could
below
try.
it. So we have to adjust this which way? First of all,
Oh.
which way do we adjust it? Christian? Christian, which way do we adjust it? Which way does it has to go up? Okay? I'm trying to point out the steps along the way. So we have to adjust it up. Luke,
Since we weren't up, we could try 25.
okay?
Since it's the next 5.
25 times 15 equals 125, 0, 25, plus, we got 375. What'd we have to get, 360? 360, we got 375.
24, just
So we went too high.
24.
By
And
one.
that's fine.
By
That's all I'm looking for. From there, you figured out what?
Yes, minus 15
Minus
is
15,
360.
so it'd be
it's
24 times 15 equals 360. So then up here, we would have 360 divided by 15 equals
24.
what? 24.
Do you have to do all those steps?
It has them all written out. You're just putting the answers down.
Yep. Really? If you don't have to do all those steps?
No.
Okay, good.
Decide how to adjust to try, and here in the book, they have try 22, okay? But Luke, he tried 25. Can we try 22? Yeah. Can we try 25? Yes. Can you try 23? Yes. Can you try 26?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay? But then your answer, continue until the product is 360. So then 360, once you get 360 here,
Stop.
then we know that 360 divided by 15 equals 24. That's how they are using the second strategy. Okay? It's a longer strategy, but you're going to find out that it gets there. Now, here's another great big huge hint that I gave you last time. Guess what?
There's no remainder.
There's no remainders.
Yay!
So all of these are going to go in evenly. So if you are multiplying or dividing, whichever way, and you end up with the remainder, that's a hint that it's wrong. You did something wrong in there. So go back to the beginning, look at your work, make sure that you multiplied right, you subtracted right, and you're going to find somewhere in there that you made a mistake. Okay? Fix it, and then move on. Today, this is number 1 that I did for you. Okay? Number 2, you're basically doing the same thing, it's just with a different set of numbers. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 answers, just like we did over here. Okay? Number 3 through 11, you are going to be doing this, the partial products or partial quotients. Okay? You're going to be stacking them up this way. Okay? And then 12 is write a multiplication fact to help estimate the one that they give you there. Figure out what it would be. All they're asking for is the multiplication. That would help you decide. Okay? Then 13 through 17 are word problems that go over it. Okay? You also have 4-7 to do in your blue binder. Okay? If you have not been doing the blue binder, okay, and you have not been keeping up with it, if you don't do well on this math test, which isn't for a while, but if you don't do well on it, you have no chance at taking a retest. You have to have the blue binder stuff done in order to take a retest. Otherwise, that's like saying, oh, I didn't do any of my work, so I just want to take a retest. I'm sorry, if you're not doing your work, that's why you're not getting it done. Okay? It has to be done. Okay? Go ahead.